The homeless epidemic in our state, in our country, in our once great nation should be impossible for everyone else to ignore. Because the very same people you walk by every day could be you in one paycheck. If you lose your job or your nice apartment, you can't afford it anymore if you don't have a job, where will you go? You'll wind up in the same lines. You'll wind up on the same street. And you'll wind up in the same exact position as the rest of us. I came to California in January, trying to find a new way of life for myself and my wife. We recently separated due to personal differences and life differences. We were going different directions. So that's not because of the result to what we have encountered here in California, but what we've encountered here in California is nothing short of madness. And the reason that it's so bad is because people seem to forget that it's very quick to happen, that it can occur at any moment. I've lost everything in my life multiple times, and I've never come across this situation. So it hasn't happened every time, but it can occur with just the loss of one job. Or say if the market crashes, the economy goes away, you have no job, no way of making money. And you're in line with the rest of us getting a job at Nowhereville, waiting in line for an application that'll never turn into a job at Jack in the Box or Starbucks, to say the least. I've hounded that company for months for a job, turned in applications that I'm more than qualified, and I have yet to hear from them about a job. How hard can it be making a cup of coffee, people? How hard could it be to make a cup of coffee? How hard can it be to heat up a scone? You're depriving me of the American dream by not giving me a chance, when all I did was make a poor decision and come to a state that I thought was going to be the best place for me, for my open mind and different views. But apparently, I'm not welcome here. So I wound up on the street in Los Angeles because SpaceX refused to talk to me. And because of my status as a transgender person, I wound up losing a job with the temp service. Other people at the same position, damaged forklifts, tipped over a forklift or damaged product and kept their job. I run over the tiniest corner of a table by accident, I might add, and was fired from one incident. Now, I can't equate that to, it's not logical to say that that's probably the reason, but I'm thinking I'm left with no other choice but to think that there's reasons beyond what actually occurred that got me fired from that position. Because other than that, I operated that vehicle with very safe operational skills. I've been highly trained to operate equipment, so there's no reason for me to not have a job operating a forklift in any warehouse. But now, since I haven't had the money to afford my own car, to put gas in the car if I do have it, to afford insurance to drive the car legally if I do have it, I'm left walking. And I can't really get to a job downtown in the city because I live too far away. So the situation is, not only is it transportation now, it's also the ability of myself to get to a better job, because I have to rely on jobs that are substandard jobs or substandard employment for someone like me who needs so much more. I get one day a week, maybe 2 days a week at a job. Now, I'm grateful for that one little job, but by no means is it going to keep me off the damn street. By no means is it enough for me to survive. It's appalling to me that people would expect you to survive on that paycheck. a 1-day-a-week paycheck, minimum wage job. It's insanity, people. And far be it from me to judge anyone. I'm not judging anybody. I'm simply demanding change, simply demanding a forum for people to understand that, yeah, homelessness did occur to some folks, but not all of us got into the position of homelessness because we used drugs. The only drug I've ever done with any lengthy amount of fortitude, okay, was cocaine. And I used that while I had money. Now, if you understand what occurs after you lose a job, you don't have any money, you can't afford the lifestyle anymore. So I haven't been on cocaine in a number of years, quite close to decades, actually, or decade, I should say, rather. I'm only 36. The truth of the matter is, I experimented with it, and it didn't cause me my job. What caused me my job was someone else's judgment. The only drug I do now is not a drug at all. It's an herb. It grows out of the ground. And I haven't even had the money for that. To control my anxiety, my anger, and my depression, I turned to marijuana, which is harmless to me because it doesn't cause me to want more of it at every step of it and every turn. I'm not addicted to it. But I am addicted to cigarettes. I am addicted to being clean. I am addicted to food. I am addicted to clothing. I am addicted to shelter. How obscene does it have to be for you to understand that it's not things that I'm addicted to? Those are human necessities. Shelter, clothing, food are necessities. I didn't get in this position because I did too much drugs. I quit those years ago. What got me in this position was maybe the wrong choice at the right time or the right choice at the wrong time. It's anybody's guess what put me in this position exactly. But the point is, I made decisions that should have had better or different turns of events or different circumstances. But what actually happened and what I expected were not similar at all. I learned the dark side of humanity very quickly. I escaped a lot of danger through living in Los Angeles. I kind of lived in a bubble there for a little while with my ex-wife in the same vehicle, sleeping in the back of our GMC Envoy. Now, you might say, you weren't on the curb, you're not on the sidewalk. Yeah, but you know as well as I do that if you don't pay the vehicle payment, they come and take it, right? Then you were actually on the damn street. So how long do I have to suffer because you say I'm not suffering bad enough? How long must this go on before people realize that suffering of any kind, undue suffering of any kind, is unacceptable? How long do we have to let this continue before we stop it in its tracks and help people that arrive at this same location don't deserve what they are being handed to them? I've waited in lines at shelters and at places to get food for hours, sometimes to get turned away or to get food that I can't even eat. It's inedible because it's either expired or has mold growing off of it. I mean, you know, hell, if I have a gluten allergy and I have to eat a sandwich, what is that? What are you expecting me to do? I'm going to need a bathroom later. And those aren't exactly prevalent in California. I don't know if you've ever been to Los Angeles, but there are no public restrooms anywhere. You have to be a customer, a paying customer, to use the restrooms in Los Angeles, or otherwise you go on the damn street. So explain to me how any of that shit's fair. Explain to me how any of it is humane. Explain to me how any of it is acceptable in a state means or in a city government. What do you think should be done about it? The answer is we need to stop being lazy, get off our ass, and get a job. Well, the truth is, I've been trying to do that since February 3rd. And the only thing I've managed to get is a little part-time job inside a damn mall. And I put in hundreds of applications every day. So explain to me how that occurrence doesn't happen for me. What am I doing wrong? It can't just be that I'm homeless. It can't just be that I'm white. It can't just be that I'm gay. It can't just be in the situation that I am where I am because I am what I am and I put myself there. It can't just be that. There has to be other situations that factor into this being the situation that it is, because it's not just happening to me, obviously. If you look around in the city of Los Angeles, you can stumble across 10 homeless people inside a city block on any day, any road, anywhere in that city. Just because you don't see them 1 hour doesn't mean they're not there. They're good at hiding because the police arrest them for vagrancy. So explain to me how any of this is fair, or explain to me how any of this is realistically expected. What we need to do to end homelessness is offer free housing that's realistic, not a wait list. There are plenty of apartments with vacant units that people can use, that homeless people can use. Hell, even if the state has to pay for the apartment through the apartment home or whatever, or they have to allow it to be a write-off for the apartment building at the end of the year, there's certain ways I'm sure they can get around this. All the bureaucratic bullshit that keeps people on the damn street because you're too lazy to do any kind of work about it. It isn't the fact that I'm lazy. No one will give me a chance. And there are others like me that are in the same position, that have done work for this country, that have put their time in, that have paid their dues and have still wound up with nothing. And I'm sure it's just a game of chance. And you're going to say, well, they played the hand they were dealt and they got a sorry end of it. That's not an excuse, people. There's no reason to let this occur. There's no reason to let it continue. And we as Americans need to fix our country before we even think of allowing anyone else in it. Before we even think about the border, we need to consider our own citizenry first. Because those people that are here in the country legally, that were born here, I'm sorry, matter more to me than anyone from outside of it. We need to focus on our own citizens.